So I'm going to do a little video here. This is about how to adjust your rear brake pads. We got the dual caliper. So we're going to be upgrading to this on a lot of the stuff. All of the Fleet Smash cabs have this, just because it's better stopping power. Both sides of the caliper are active, whereas the old school brake system has a active caliper side, and that's just one solid piece, and then there's an inactive side. And what it means is active and inactive is that whenever you depress the brakes, these pads push forward and grab the axle. They grab the rotor. They pinch the rotor. But on the dual caliper, when you depress the brakes, both sides push into the rotor. Whereas like the old school, it's like one of them pushes in and then one of them sits still. So one of them is like pushing it into the inactive caliper that sits still. So these are actually, because of the motor, these brakes before we had motors were just like completely over-engineered. They were made for go-karts, for a lot higher speeds. But now that we have a little bit of speed, we are seeing wear on the pad. Whereas like before, these fucking pads would they'd be like 20 years old and they'd look just like this. They would be brand new. Now we actually see wear on them. So the way to adjust these is with a 1/4 Allen. Now this, I can't tell if this is a 1/4. This is one of the only ones, the only situations is the 1/4 and the 6mm are almost identical. I can't really tell. This is like really fucking rusted. Maybe it'll show it. This is actually, oh, that is a 1/4. I see it right there. So you could use the 1/4. That's what it's meant for. I always say, hey, don't mix standard and metric, but this one's one of the ones where the metric and the standard are almost identical. But yeah, you have inside these bolts right here, you could actually fit a 3/16 into this. There's actually two sets of bolt heads to be able to put an Allen in. There's a 3/16, but the 3/16, if you try to use that to adjust it, all the 3/16 does is hold the pad into place. So if you like put a 3/16 in here and try to back it out to adjust the pad, what it's going to do is it's going to make the pad fall off. So the 3/16 is what anchors the pad onto the actual caliper. The adjustment one is the 1/4. It's the fat one, the bigger one. So in order to adjust it, it is the exact same. There's nothing fancy about the orientation. It's tighty-righty, lefty-loosey. If you want the brakes to go tighter, pull that to the right. And what it does is it pushes that pad out right here. Let's see if I can do this with both. If I can get it to, it is kind of hard to do with one hand. Oh, you see it's starting to move a little bit. Boom. Right there. See? So that, but if you see this, I actually have it's uneven. So you can't just push in one side. So see how this side is a lot more pushed in than this side. It's like a few millimeters pushed in. So you just go in here and you do the same thing. And you'd screw that one in to even it out. So on a rotor, what you're going to do is the rotor will sit inside of the caliper like this. You want to get that pad to be as close to the rotor as it possibly can be without scraping the rotor. And you'll hear that sound, that scrape sound, just like this. You'll hear that whenever the pad is too close. If you hear that, you back out. You basically like push those pads in until you start hearing that sound, and then you back them out. This is actually probably the best tool that you could have one of the best tools that you could have in your kit is just one of these, because it does. The Main Street frame has changed so many times over the years. They've been in business for like 30 years now, and so they've changed the orientation of the frame between generations, and there's certain frames that have, there's not a lot of space between here and here, and so when you have that dual caliper in, you can't use like a multi-tool wrench. And then there's some years where it's way further apart. If you see this one, there's a huge amount of space. And see, that guy has a dual caliper. You can get a power ratchet in there to be able to do that. But yeah, it's 1/4 is how to do it. And it just takes you a few minutes to actually adjust those pads. You can do this on your own. Thanks, guys.